Not bad for a £15 knife. It's called robust for a reason. Well, that wood is a bit crap, so I'm going to get one out of the pile. Well, this is my first time using this knife, and so far, as a beater, it was great, but it's not making particularly good feather sticks. It's got a very high grind and a secondary bevel, which really doesn't suit my way of cutting. But that can be remedied on the stones easy enough. Just take that micro bevel off. Well, I'll persevere with it now, and then I really need a cup of tea. Well, Scott's here with me today, and he's an expert feather sticker, so by the time I've played around with this, he'll have probably done 3 or 4 really good ones anyway. Well, going quick seemed to work. Don't know why. Go on, shave.
A bit of pressure on me now.
That's alright.
Performance anxiety.
No, I'm not liking the grind on it at all. So I'm going to switch to another Mora knife. And this is probably the cheapest Mora in the range. Forgive the tape, I put that on years ago. Can't remember what model it is. I'll put it on the screen. I think it's like a 115 or something. No, that's a carver.
510, isn't it?
510.
510 or a 511.
510 or 511. And I think I've only ever used it once. Well, I made some skinny curls with it. Let's get the tea on then. Well, neither of them Moras I'm using got a sharp spine, so I'm going to switch to the bush tool. I got Old Faithful with me today. Well, I don't mind admitting, Dad really struggled to light this morning. I think because I'm sitting here gossiping and the wood I'm using isn't very good. I'm quite happy to admit, sometimes I don't do that well. But it's going now and the kettle's going on. It was a bit precarious. The new pot is on. Didn't sit very well in my notch, but looks okay. As long as it boils water for tea, we'll be happy. Fire's burning well now. It's a bit of a mess. Unfortunately, that log I processed, I thought just the outside was a bit damp, but the middle wasn't particularly good either. But I just wanted to show how robust the Mora robust was, basically. Yes, so we got Scott here now. He's carving a cookser.
Try into.
Is the wood hard?
Yeah.
Looks hard. Let's have a look at it. Tidy.
Cherry.
Oh, nice and hard.
Yes, it would be a lot easier on a belt sander. But I'm going in the wood.
I'm sure there's plenty of professional makers out there who enjoy themselves on their belt sander and their bandsaw.
I don't see any problem with it. I mean, if you're just making one in the woods and you want to put the hours in, that's perfectly fine. But then if you've got the kit at home and you think, well, I got enough wood to make 4 cookers, then why not blank them out as much as you can with like chisels and bandsaws and things, and then hand finish it. Pretty much everyone you see, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's turning out 2 a week, they're not doing them by hand.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
They're doing the bulk of it. I mean, I've seen old videos how cookers are made, Scandinavian videos, and the guy is ploughing them out on a bandsaw, and he's got a machine which has cut the bowl, and then he hand finishes them, and they all go into a big tank and to be boiled, you know, in salt water, whatever, London finish or whatever they call it. But I mean, you know, they're commercial ones, and that's what most people have been drinking over for years, the commercial ones, but they're handmade but on machines.
Well, I know from past experience talking to you about cookser making, you put a hell of a lot of work in and then leave it overnight and the damn thing cracks.
Yeah, if you look here now. No, I didn't buy it in Aldi, but there's all the shavings.
Are you keeping the shavings
So,
in with it?
It's been in this bag for weeks. You've got to sort of leave it a bit open, because if you just leave it sweat, the mould will get in and you won't get it out of the grain.
Right.
So I keep it in with the shaving so it doesn't dry too quick. So far it hasn't split, but I won't know till I put hot drinks in it. Got a fair way to go yet. I've got a load of meat off that to come off.
Well, I know the quality of your carving work.
We'll get there. I'm going to have a nice antler filled in there again, like the other one I did.
No.
I just had a piece of cherry that I thought I'd better use before it gets too hard, but it's solid now.
Right, let's have a look at this fire. And I can hear movement of the kettle. Excellent. Thoughts on the kettle? Well, obviously it boiled water just fine. But I was right last week when I said it would be a slow pourer. It was a slow pourer. It's not really a problem, but it does a slow pourer. That being nice and big, that's great. Impressed with that. As I say, I would like a tighter fitting handle, but I'm sure if I push the top of the pan in a bit, it will be, but it's no deal breaker. As Scott and I were talking now about when we started off together doing this 22 years ago, we were saying we would have killed for a pot like that. We both were using Crusader mugs. Well, even before the stainless Crusader mugs came out, we were using Survival Aids branded Teflon coated ones, and they had a plastic rim on them which used to drip down your chin, and they were costing about £20 each, and basically they were crap on a fire. They were okay on a hexi stove, and they cost quite a bit, £12. You can't fault that. And I think how much I've spent on pots, and especially titanium pots over the years. Well, that definitely gets a thumbs up for me. £12 from eBay. I'm not sure if it came from China, but made in China, 100%. So that's going back on now for another cup of tea. There you go, my friend. He's mother today. Well, I'm going to talk about this Mora knife for a couple of minutes. bargain. That's all I can say, bargain. Couple of little flaws with it. I don't like the grind, but for the money, you just can't fault it. Hasn't got a sharp spine, but then I'm wondering, do Mora specifically not put a sharp spine on their cheaper ones, so you will buy the Bushcraft Black, which is over twice the price. If that had the same grind as the black and a sharp spine, it would be just as good a knife. I like the handle, it's very comfortable. It's strong, and I like that length of blade. It's reminiscent of my FTP. Now you could adapt this easy enough. I'd say the first thing you do is sharpen it and put the spine on a grinder. I'd do the same as I did with my companion HD. I'd basically just grind that much, because it's awkward to get into there. Just grind that much for your ferro rod, and this would be a cracking knife. Sheath, like all Mora knives, plain and simple. Clicks in, doesn't fall out. Clip for your pocket or your belt, and you can also clip another one on. So if you wanted to have two of these, so one for your wood, one for your cooking, you can clip another one on the front. Look bloody stupid, but there we are. Some people, I suppose, like it. In fact, 2 years ago in the airport in Sweden, I noticed a workman walking through the airport, and he had two Mora knives, one clipped on the front of the other, and it was clipped onto his pocket. And that was in an airport, which is strange, but I did notice it. So thumbs up for that. It's a good knife. Shame about the grind. While I'm at it, I might as well talk about this one. This is under £10, and it's a bit thin, mine. It's about 2mm, no sharp spine again. Grind, I'd say, is a tiny bit steeper than that one, but not much. Handle's comfortable, it's a bit slippery. What do you expect for £10? The great Mors Gohansky used the Ericsson version of this for years before the scoop gun came out. But that was thicker, it was about 2.5 to 3mm thick. And I actually have one which I bought off the great man, and Scott does. So, £10, you just can't fault that. It'll do light battening, it'll carve very well. In fact, they do the smaller version of this as a carving, with a blade about that big. Sheath, well, I cut that thing off. I don't know why, I just did. Some tape around the handle. Neck carry. The only thing I do find with neck carry is the heavier the knife, it does get a bit uncomfortable around your neck and banging back and forth. But something this weight, you can just, tuck in there. You don't notice it. Mora 1, whatever it is.
510, I think, or 511.
510 or 511, great. And Woodlow did a version of this as well. And I think that had the thicker spine with the green handle and Ray Mears' logo on it. I never had one. I should have bought one, but I never did. But then they were a bit more expensive because you were paying for the thicker steel and Ray's name on it, basically. Cheap as chips. I'd give it a thumbs up any day of the week.
We're converted Mora fans.
Yeah.
Because considering we started off with, well, we couldn't get a Scandi grind knife really.
No.
20 plus years ago. Mora were the only ones, and they've changed their design on stuff over the last few years, and they're much better. The old stuff I wasn't fussed with at all.
No.
They were crap, that's why we didn't bother them. That's why we went down the custom,
yeah.
Made our own, which you still do obviously.
But and you do now and again.
But paid a fortune for other knife maker stuff, and now I've gone full circle, yeah. And I'm using a lot of Mora things now. Like I got the Garberg Carbon on me now, yeah. So
I'm after the Garberg Carbon as well. Yeah, wouldn't mind one at all.
I had it first.
So yeah, both Mora converts really. considering I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds on custom knives, and I must have made about 500, and I've still got regular users, about 5 of them, but I do like using a Mora now and again. They're great.
The good thing about it as well is you're actually starting to see it as a tool again now.
Yeah.
When we started out, it was a knife. You were like abusing stuff when we started out and things, and then when you spend 300-400 plus on a custom knife, you don't abuse it. Now it's getting down to it's a working tool, so you don't mind spending £18 on a companion heavy duty or whatever. Using it hard, sharpening it, and then when it's worn down or something snaps or rusts or whatever, it's just another £18. Replace it. You can buy a nice sheath, make a nice sheath, and then you just use it all the time.
That's what I was going to say, was the disposable knife and a nice sheath. Get a nice sheath from a custom maker, or make it yourself if you can, and keep the sheath. If the knife breaks, and let's face it, if you're going to break a companion HD, you're a bit of an idiot, because they're a strong knife, and there's only so much a knife can take. But yeah, you can break one, throw it away, and just
normally if those things break,
have a
it
nice
tends
sheath.
to be people battening and they've hit the handle.
Hit the handle, yeah.
The blade themselves takes a lot to snap one of those blades.
And the thing is, I hit the handle earlier when I was splitting that log down with the robust, and it didn't do anything to it. Didn't hit it that hard, mine. But I basically know what it's going to take anyway. Well, Scott and I, when I got into this hobby, I must have been about 17, so that's quite a few years ago, 30 years ago. We didn't know each other then, and one knife I had, which I always loved, was the Cold Steel Master Hunter. Really rate that knife. I still rate that knife. I've still got my original carbon V1, and I've also got a San Mai one, which, if I'm going to use it, I will use the San Mai one. And mine, for some reason, are a thicker gauge steel. They're about a 4mm, and I know Scott's one is slightly thinner.
Yeah, it's
with a deeper belly.
I think it's still a 5mm on the spine, but it's a full flat grind, and it's very thin when it gets down to the edge.
Now my two aren't, for some strange reason, and about 2 months ago I bought one in 3V or S30V, 3V I think it was, and I was really excited about this, and when it turned up, I didn't like it. It was a hunting knife, full stop. The spine was thinner, there was a belly on it, rather than the two I've got are straight, and I sent it back. I was quite disappointed, but then, do I really need 3? No, not really, but there we are. So, yeah, and we still rate them. And when we went out to learn with Moz 15 years ago, Scott took his Master Hunter, and I remember Moz saying, "Oh, Cold Steel Master Hunter, good knife." And you used it.
Oh,
you used it a hell of a lot.
Yeah, because we made the snowshoes, pack frames. We were stripping down a lot of bark off that lodgepole pine and things we were cutting up. So it was covered in sap, and it had the proper battering, and it was lovely. And it was so easy to sharpen as well with that.
And a warm handle, because it was cold at the time,
winter. Minus 15 or whatever, it's nice.
Yeah.
The rubberized handle was great.
Damn good knife. But if I went back there now, obviously I can't, because the great man's passed away, I would probably take a Mora. Yeah. I think I'd probably take a Garberg and a Mora carver.
Yeah.
Rather than take what I took was 3 Bison bushcraft knives because I'm a knife freak, and I wanted to use a different one every day.
Yeah, we've always done that. When we went to Colorado, I took 2. Every trip we've done, we're like, I've got to take at least 4 or 5 knives because I get bored.
Yeah.
I've used that one today, I'm going to use a different one tomorrow.
But we're grown up now, we wouldn't do that again. Last year's Sweden trip, I only took 1 bushcraft knife. Yeah.
Yeah, I only take 1 knife now, but about 15 carving tools.
Yeah, well, you love carving. I scaled my carving kit down a bit. Yeah. Right, well, we're going to have another cup of tea now. Hope you enjoyed that little conversation. Well, that messy fire now is burning nicely in a parallel configuration. Yes, it was quite a mess to start with. Well, time for us to go. Just going to say goodbye. Thank you very much for watching, and all the best. Ta-ra.
True star on the camera this time.
Oh, yeah.